Well, a battle on Capitol Hill today over energy. The Environmental Protection Agency is set to finish up rules to cut down on pollution from oil and gas drilling. Under scrutiny is the controversial practice of hydraulic fracturing, more commonly known as fracking. Environmentalists say the practice leads to toxic waste, but oil and gas industries say regulators are going overboard. Joining us now to talk more about the future of fracking, Greg Pallas, journalist and author of Vulture's Picnic in Pursuit of Petroleum Pigs, Power Pirates, and High Finance Carnivores. Hi, Greg. So I know that you are a very outspoken when it comes to the practice of fracking. How hopeful are you that EPA's regulations that are set to come out today will resolve the problems associated with the practice?
I'm not too hopeful. I'm an investigative reporter. It's not so much opinion as the facts I have to deal with. I conducted an investigation for the government on the Exxon Valdez. We had oil companies who lied to us and broke the rules. I just completed an investigation of the Deepwater Horizon blowup, which, by the way, is 2 years 2-year anniversary is on Friday. Well, do we think that we had enough regulations there on deepwater drilling? There are 11 guys who died there. We just had a pipeline blow up in California. 8 people incinerated from a gas pipeline, which we were told by the owner, PG&E, was safe. We had more deaths from pipelines by Arkla Petroleum. So is the problem that we have too stiff of a regulatory regime, or one that is allowing people to die? Unfortunately, death seems to be winning out over science and reason. And this is an election year. The Republicans have made energy, producing energy an issue. Somehow they've connected fracking for gas under your home, connected that to the high price of gasoline in your car, which is, insane, frankly. Scientifically, there's no connection, or economically. And so I'm very concerned that the EPA will be issuing politically oriented rules, that is helping Obama fight the election by saying he's allowing fracking, rather than going with the science. And the science is saying we don't have yet the means to properly control this process and preventing the pollution of our aquifers and preventing death by pipeline.
Greg, advocates, so clearly there are many problems associated with fracking, but some of the advocates say that there are some positives to this. It creates jobs. It allows for the U.S. to drill for its own natural gas. All very relevant now that gas prices are going up. So what is so bad about fracking if it's done correctly?
Well, 2 things. Let's go back. Let me step back one thing. The price of gas is going up. Gasoline has gone up. But that has nothing to do with natural gas that we pull out of the ground, which you don't. There are very few cars that run on natural gas in the United States of America, and we never will have such a technology. It's not practical to put on wheels. We really don't want explosive cars. As to creating jobs, it's not a very big industry. We have a lot of fracking going on in North Dakota, and they say, oh, look at the increase in employment. Well, no one lives in North Dakota. It's pretty easy to get 1,000 jobs there is a massive increase in employment. And the problem that we have is that it is not going to reduce the price of gasoline. It's not going to even reduce very much the price of oil or natural gas. We have plenty of safe resources. I'm very afraid of using the argument about jobs. I mean, there's a lot of dangerous things that could create jobs, but there's also things like solar, wind, et cetera, which are really areas that create continuing jobs, not one-time drilling jobs, where workers rush into an area, you have a boom, then you have a bust, and they're unemployed. They leave a mess, a social mess, an economic mess, and an environmental mess.
So, okay, so maybe it won't help the price of gas go down, but the U.S. is searching for a way to become more independent when it comes to energy, and fracking presumably could be one of the options. So, Greg, is there a way to do it that is sustainable and that is friendly, environmentally friendly? And if so, why not?
There probably is. In other words, you could frack using purely CO2, but that's not what they're going to do. They put the drillers put all kinds of mystery sauces in their formulations. Halliburton, for example, had a formula, and they wouldn't tell us what it was, that would increase the amount of gas coming out of this process. Turns out that their secret ingredients was diesel fuel. You pop diesel fuel down under the aquifers, our drinking water in the United States, and it cracks upward. We also have tremendous problems in sealing those well casings. We saw that in the Deepwater Horizon when the cement failed. Well, the same cement that failed on the Deepwater Horizon and blew it up spectacularly is causing cement failures all over America. But because these wells aren't as big, we just don't hear about the problems and the cracks and the leaks. Tremendous amount of pollution. We don't have the regulators who can stop these guys from throwing all kinds of poisonous junk down those wells and from illegally dumping the waste all over the place. We have it already, and we've only begun this process. We just don't have the ability to control this industry. They've already run wild, and I don't see that changing.
So do you think then that the answer could be that there needs to be more regulation of fracking and to hold these companies accountable?
Well, I think two things. I mean, I would like to see a moratorium until we figure out why we're getting all this pollution. It seems to be coming from well casings, and we don't have a method for correcting that problem yet. So I'd love to see a moratorium. But if not, I would like to see some serious regulation with some serious fines and some serious restrictions about the nearness to the water supplies, the aquifers, and a serious business where companies are absolutely responsible for the drilling waste that comes out. Once you do that, suddenly this cheap source of gas is not going to look so cheap. It's if we had oil, we have all kinds of restrictions on oil wells and oil well waste. And somehow with fracking, we've decided, well, we don't have to have so many restrictions. Oil well drilling is expensive because we want it done safely. I've been down in the Amazon jungle in South America where Chevron was drilling with almost no restriction. It's a poisonous mess. Cancer, childhood leukemias are epidemic. We don't want to bring that to the United States. I hate to see it happen in South America.
All right, Greg, a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you very much for coming on the show. That was Greg Palast, investigative journalist and author of Vulture's Picnic.